Have you gotten to explore any of Oklahoma's wildlife management areas? Hi, everybody. I'm Rob, and this is Storm Crow Overland, where we talk about going on adventures, road trips, camping, and just generally getting out and enjoying life. On this week's episode, we're going to talk about a recent trip I took out to the Sandy Sanders Wildlife Management Area that's in far western Oklahoma. So far, I think at one point we were about 5 miles from the Texas border. So this all came about the week before this. I was at Riggs and Coffee, and some of the guys were going camping. The weather seemed really nice, and one of my buddies had invited me to go camping, and I wasn't going to be able to go. I had some other prior commitments that weekend that kept me from going. Good fun stuff, but just stuff that I had to go do. But one of the guys was like, "Well, hey, I'm free next weekend. You want to go do something?" I'm like, "Heck yeah, I do. Weather still looks like it's gonna be good. It hadn't gotten too hot yet. I'd love to." So this was my buddy Ben. I'm gonna try to include a picture of his rig right here. Sorry, Ben. So he had mentioned going out to Sandy Sanders WMA. Apparently, he'd been out there, I think, once before, or at least for part of it. And then our buddy Jared had mapped out some coordinates in a GPX file before. So we grabbed that GPX file and we decided we were going to run out there, camp somewhere in that area, and just kind of have a little short weekend trip. Sandy Sanders WMA is really neat. It's about 30,000 acres, but if you're going to go out there, you have to have a valid, because it's a wildlife management area, you have to have either a valid hunting or fishing license. If you don't have one of those, or you don't feel like getting one for some reason, you can also get what the state calls a conservation passport. Basically gives you access to these wildlife management areas for any other reason. If you want to do photography or just go hike or bird watch or whatever you want to do that's not hunting or fishing, you can get that conservation passport. But they're really all about the same price. If you're even remotely interested in hunting or fishing, you might want to go ahead and just pick one of those up, the hunting or fishing license up. Let's see. So it's a great area to explore, especially for Oklahoma. It's got a good amount of elevation changes, which we don't get a whole lot of here. We actually have a pretty decent kind of elevation gradient from the east part of the state to the west part of the state, but it's a nice gentle slope the whole way. There's not a whole lot of places where you get actual obvious up and down parts, but Sandy Sanders had some really nice. It's semi-maintained dirt roads, but good amount of up and down. There's some ridges you get to kind of drive along. You get to go down to the kind of in the little canyon area a little bit. It's nothing I would call super technical, but I will say it's all dirt. There are some spots, like I said, with some of the elevation changes and some of the dirt. If it had really rained a whole lot recently, like that day or maybe the day before, if it was actually really muddy out there, I think you'd be fine, but maybe one or two spots you might have an issue that could get a little tricky. When we went, it had rained a lot like a week before, not the previous couple of days. So the ground itself, all the dirt roads, they were dry. It was probably just enough moisture to keep it from being too dusty. So it was really a good time to go. And some of the other benefit of some of that rain they had gotten before was everything was really green. This area can get a little desert scrub brushy, where it's all kind of just brown, but everything was blooming. There was cactus flowers and all kinds of other flowers and plants that I don't know what they were, but lots of green, lots of little flowers, really nice to look at. I mean, generally, I'd say 90% of the roads out there you could probably do in a Corolla. If you've got even a bone stock 4Runner, Tacoma, Jeep, anything like that, you're set. As long as it's not super muddy. If it's really muddy, you might want some better tires, and you better have a way to get unstuck. Um, Maybe something besides a winch. You might want to have a buddy or some traction boards, because there's not a lot of big trees to use as anchors if you're out by yourself and get stuck. Uh, Probably the neatest kind of thing out there, the most notable section of the whole trail. It's a fairly steep hill climb with two switchbacks on it, and I've got some footage I'll throw in here too as well. Uh, Really neat kind of spot. fairly tight switchback. You don't get hardly any switchbacks in Oklahoma. That's just not something we do here. So it's just neat to have something to kind of play on. Like I said, it's really nothing that crazy. It's nothing like what you see in Colorado or Utah, but for Oklahoma, pretty good. Uh, just enough to be a little exciting and fun. I think me and Ben both, as we were going near the top, kind of spun our tires just a little bit, but we both were still in two-wheel drive. Like I said, nothing that technical. The kind of neat part, though, or what was kind of funny, I set when we got to this particular section, I launched my drone and had it in a static position filming, and that's the B-roll you'll see here of us coming up the switchbacks. My buddy Ben set his drone to follow mode, where it was going to film following us going up, and we got all the way to the top, and he was so excited that he got the whole follow thing to work. We get to the top, and he's like, "Oh man, I forgot to hit record." No big deal. We were like, okay, well, let's just turn around and do it again, because one, it'll be neat to drive down it, uh, and then we'll get to come back up it again. This is probably the most fun part of the whole trail. Why not do it again? So we did. We turned around and went back down the trail, back down the little hill climb, which was probably better because going up, you're at enough of an incline that you're really just looking at hood and sky. You can't really see what's going on. But going down, looking down into this kind of canyon area, really neat. Neat views. Like I said, not enough to really be scary. It's not that steep. It's not that big of a drop off, but enough to make it fun. So we did that. Went down the bottom, reset the drone, went up. He got it recorded this time. He's got it in his channel. I'll try to remember to put a link in the comments or in the description so y'all can go see that if you want. But it was really neat. Let's see. After that, we just drove some more of the dirt roads, kind of exploring, just enjoying the views, enjoying the nice weather. Eventually, we did pull over at somewhere we were kind of up on a ridge, kind of overlooking a large area of land. Just a neat view. We saw one other car the whole time we were out there. But we pulled over, just had lunch, made some sandwiches real quick, kind of BS'd, just hung out. Good time, good company, good snack. But after that, so we went and explored a little more, just continued driving around, just some neat stuff, like a lot of fun. I'm gonna have some other, some of my GoPro footage and stuff in here. None of the GoPro footage really shows it the same. I'm sure y'all are used to that from watching videos. It doesn't really show how much the elevation changes or how big some of the views are, but it's something to try to at least give you an idea. But when we finally got to the edge of the WMA and kind of the end of the route we were following, we had two options we had considered for camp, and we picked one of them. And conveniently, to get there from where we were, we actually had to hop on the Oklahoma Adventure Trail, which is a fairly long trail that some adventure bike guys from Adventure Rider put together that goes all the way around the state. It's a big loop. It's like a 5-day-ish kind of trail. But we hopped on a small section of it, which is neat. It's always neat to do a part of that. I've never done the entire Oklahoma Adventure Trail, but I've done some smaller sections, and it's pretty neat. But the trail took us to a neat spot to cross the Salt Fork of the Red River, which normally it's real sandy. It's normally real shallow. Sometimes it's so because we had rain, maybe 2 foot deep in sections. We got to cross that. Got to mix in a little bit of a water crossing, which we also don't have a whole lot of here in Oklahoma. Kind of like the whole rest of the trip. Wasn't deep enough to be a real problem, and the water really wasn't running fast enough to be an issue, but it was enough to just kind of be fun and exciting. So we finished there. We both crossed there, and we ended up getting to Lake Hall, I think is what it was. Yeah, it's Lake Hall. Neat just a little local, I think it's state-owned land. The lake, fishing, it's got a little boat dock and a couple of campsites around it. It's all primitive campsites, no hookups, no bathrooms, no nothing like that. But set up camp, and I had decided to try something new with this camp night. I've got an Ooni wood pellet pizza oven, and I love pizza, and I love good pizza. I love bad pizza too, but I just love pizza. But I brought the uni with me. I had told Ben the day before, I was like, hey, I think I'm going to bring my pizza oven. What kind of pizza do you like? So I brought stuff for, luckily he liked the same thing I did, just simple cheese and pepperoni. But brought everything, uh, got to camp, found a good spot, got the tent set up and everything, and got the uni out. Got it started heating up, got all the ingredients, make pizza out. I use pre-made dough from Trader Joe's just because it's so good. I occasionally make my own dough, but theirs is just so easy and it's cheap and it's one of those. It's just easier. It's not worth. My homemade dough is not enough better to justify doing it over just grabbing their dough. But did that. Had some homemade sauce, some cheese, pepperoni. I had intentions of filming a whole like cooking, camp cooking, fire and a fork style video of me making these pizzas in the pizza oven out, in the wilderness. Problem was, one, it was getting late and starting to get dark, and two, I was already hungry, and filming takes a while because you got to do this. All right, I got to set this shot up and do this shot. Um, Ben was nice enough to record some of it for me, but had a small problem. We had a small malfunction with the oven. We had to stop and fix, and then by the time we got that fixed, it was starting to get dark, and it was too dark to really film. And like I said, we were hungry. I've probably already inserted some of the footage of me making the pizzas and stuff, and then I'll throw in a picture of the finished pizza. And the pizza was excellent, as always. I love my little Ooni Pizza Oven. I think I'm going to take it on more trips when it's appropriate. It's not a normal, it's not definitely not going on every trip with me. It's a little big, it's a little bulky, it takes a little while. It's not nearly as convenient as some other, regular camp food and camp stuff. Let's see. But after that, we ate our pizzas. We kind of just sat around the fire for a while, just kind of caught up, see how things were going with each other, visited, had a couple beers. Said the weather was amazing. It was nice and it was cooling off just enough to be nice and cool and want to sit right there next to the fire. The only problem was once sun went down, it started cooling off. The bugs came out in force. Just tons of bugs. We turned some of our little camp lights off, and that kind of kept the bugs away. Kind of stayed next to the fire, kind of in the smoke a little bit to help clear the bugs out. But eventually, we ended up just going and crashing, going to bed, which was nice. I'm still using the Gazelle T3X. Still love it. Still using the REI Camp Dreamer air mattress that I wish they didn't discontinue, so I can tell you all about it. I was using it. Still love it. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. But after that, got up the next morning. Since I had made dinner, Ben had offered to make breakfast. Ben made breakfast tacos. I love tacos. I'm sure I've mentioned on the channel before. So got to have some nice breakfast tacos. He might have slightly overcooked the eggs, but that's one of those things that happens, especially at camp. You have the camp stove. It gets hot. You start BSing for a little bit. Next thing you know, they're just a little burnt. Honestly, they weren't even burnt. They were just slightly well done. Overall, really good breakfast tacos. Great way to start the morning. After that, we kind of just packed up camp. We're getting ready to head out. And I'm sure you've heard before about Oklahoma. But usually it's very windy. And this particular morning, there was almost no wind. Real light wind, right there on the water, on this lake. No one else around. Beautiful place. And we both have drones. We both have some DJI drones that we're familiar enough with, but we both really probably need some more practice with. And we decided to practice. So we both launched the drones. We're flying around, getting footage and stuff. One of the things, my buddy Jared at West OK Overland, that's his YouTube channel, he does this thing where he the best drone footage. And he loves to go start some of this footage by flying his drone in the passenger window and out the driver's side window, or he'll have his rooftop tent open and the windows on it open, and he'll fly it through the tent and out the tent. I hate when he does that because it looks so cool, and I can't do it. He swore up and down it was so easy. And Jared, you're a dirty, rotten liar. It's not easy. I tried. I had the Forerunner set up, rolled the windows down, and I sat there. I got my drone, and I flew it right. Sorry, loud truck. Flew it right up to the window. Made sure it was centered in the window frame. And I'm like, okay, I know this is the perfect spot for it to go. So all I did was I made sure I was out of the way. Had the drone fly straight back. I'm like, okay, now all I have to do is hit record and fly straight forward. All I got to do is push the stick forward and it will perfectly go right through. Not quite. Drone, I hit record, drone flew through. As soon as it went through the window, it was correcting for the just slight amount of wind there was. And as soon as it flew through the window, that wind no longer existed. So it overcorrected and went straight into the seat. Hi. All right, sorry about that. Had a neighborhood kid come up and doing some fundraising and just scared the bejesus out of me. He rolled up on some skates and I wasn't expecting it. I don't think he was expecting me to be sitting here either. But yeah, drone flew through the window, overcorrected right into the seat and crashed. I just gave up after that. I was worried about, I didn't want to break my drone. I wanted to, keep playing with it. So, Buddy Ben tried the same thing. He was able to do the whole fly through the window trick on a second try after he made sure he turned off all the obstacle avoidance stuff and all that. And I may need to see if that's something I need to do on mine, but it was just a mess. But other than that, we flew around, did some of the drone shots that you always see. I'm going to have some in here as B-roll just for y'all to see as well. Basically just taking time and getting familiar with them, trying to get some better shots. I can fly it real good and I can get it where I want it and all that, but I'm not real smooth on like when I turn it. It's like turn. I don't want you to get seasick watching the video, so it's just something I'm gonna have to work on. But that was really about it. It was kind of a short trip, but we had a great time. It was great hanging out with Ben. Had a couple other people that were possibly going to join us and didn't work out for one reason or another, and that's life. Hopefully some of them can make it on the next trip or the one after that. Like I said, basically that was when we just kind of headed home. Overall, excellent trip, great time. If you're in Oklahoma or the Oklahoma area, I highly suggest go check out the Sandy Sanders WMA. Just a neat place to go explore, have a little fun. Before I wrap up, I want to give you all a quick update on the Sugar Creek Loop cleanup that we've got scheduled for June 10th. So with it, we're going to meet up at Riggs and Coffee because it's the second Saturday of the month, like always. We're going to meet up at You Can Camp Campers. When it's over, we're going to head over and meet up at a predetermined location, basically the north side of Hinton, Oklahoma. This will all be in the Facebook event thing. So if you're watching this and you're interested, go on Facebook, search for Sugar Creek Loop, Sugar Creek Cleanup is what it is. We've got the event on there. Let me know if you're interested or coming. Send me a message if you got any questions. I've got some stuff in there about what prizes we've gotten donated, things like that. Speaking of prizes, we've gotten stuff from Onyx Off-Road. We've gotten stuff from Overland Spices. We've had one of the people involved with one of the other groups here in town. They've donated something. We've got a gift card. We've got just this week, I heard from Tread Lightly. They're going to be sending us some stickers and membership reward membership card things and some neat stuff from them. Might have some other big stuff coming down the pipe with some of that too. So just kind of stay tuned for that. But we're hoping to get a good turnout. The plan is to meet up on the north side of the Sugar Creek Loop, kind of split up, have everybody go down and meet up at the bottom, and then we're going to go camp from there. Camp location might depend on how many people we have that are actually going to camp. I know it'll be hot, so not everybody may want to camp, but if we don't have too many people, we're probably going to camp at Fort Cobb or on the lake. But if it looks like we're going to have too many for that, we may have to just go up to Red Rock Canyon, which is our backup plan, but that's a really good backup plan. It's still a really neat place to go. So either way, we'll have lots of fun. Might even bring the pizza oven out and make pizzas for everybody. I've kind of had that request. So we'll see how that goes. But other than that, that's really about all I have for you this week. If you are listening to this as a podcast, I just want you to know we also released the video on YouTube. Just go on YouTube and look for Stormcrow Overland. If you're watching the video on YouTube, we also released the audio from this as a podcast. You can find it wherever good podcasts are found. Just search for Stormcrow Overland. And then finally, you can also find me on Instagram at Stormcrow Overland. On any of those platforms, I would really appreciate a like, comment, follow, subscribe, any of that kind of stuff. If you like what you're seeing, I would really like to build a community of like-minded individuals. So, help me out with any of that you're interested in. Send me a message, anything. I love getting feedback from y'all. See what questions y'all have or topic ideas, that kind of thing. That's really all I have for you this week. So just remember, sometimes you have to go out and get lost, maybe in a Oklahoma wildlife management area, before you can find yourself. Thanks for watching.